morning again, everyone. What a beautiful day. Today is literally one of my favorite days of the year. I'm serious. It's the day that in our chosen faith tradition where communities like ours around the country and around the world gather back together from our summer wanderings and share a tradition known as water communion. One of the few shared rituals that we practice together in this faith that includes a mosaic of people, each with their own traditions, passed down from their ancestors. Now, we have a lot more left to do today, and we have some kids still left with us. So I'm going to try to keep my remarks brief, because as we know, if you ask kids to sit still and try to be quiet for a long time, the adults around them can really start to get the wiggles. So I'm going to try to be brief today. But I thought that it was important that I say something, because we are coming back together at a time when there's a lot of anxiety in the world. And church is a place that, among other things, many of us come to find comfort in the strength of community. If you are visiting us for the first time, perhaps that's one of the reasons you made the choice to wander in here today. If this is you, let me just say we're glad you're here. You may be surprised by some of the things you find here, because this is no ordinary church. But regardless of where you've come from on your journey, I do hope that you are able to find whatever it is you came here looking for. Now, because my time is short, there is one message I want to share with you today before we begin our water communion. And this message was actually prompted by something I heard from a member of our congregation yesterday, but I've heard it many times before in this community and in others, so I just wanted to address it briefly. This person said that they never want to talk about politics in church, because for them, church should serve as a refuge from all the other noise in the world. I get that. I totally get that. I understand that. But unfortunately, the truth is that everything in human relations is actually political. Ours is a faith tradition that has held up the importance of the democratic process for hundreds of years. Most recently in our fifth principle, which claimed we value the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and society at large. And yet many that I've encountered that claim the mantle of the UU faith don't want to have anything to do with the word politics. And I think that's a mistake. I'd like to just briefly tell you why. As a young person, I'm sure many of you had the exact same experience that I had. Being told, very, very clearly remembering being told that there are three things that you should never talk about in polite company, right? What are they, right? Religion, politics, and sex. I think money's on that list too. And that all seems to make sense given how poorly it seems we do it talking about those things these days. But I'm going to challenge that belief today. Because at the end of the day, it is the ultimate privilege to not have discussions about politics or sex or religion. It's not a plant, but that is my partner, Reverend Denise. Who couldn't be quiet if she tried. Many of us gathered here today are able to put ourselves into spaces where the majority of people think like us. And we don't have to discuss these sometimes uncomfortable topics if we don't want to. But I promise you, people that have lost their homes because they were laid off due to a corporate right-sizing, and their unemployment insurance has run out, often wish someone would have cared more about politics to ensure a stronger safety net had been approved so they could continue to feed their kids. I bet those folks that you were talking about on Navajo Nation wish people were a little bit more into politics. Women who become pregnant but know they are not in a position to raise a child safely, or whose doctor has told them that to carry a child to term would put their lives in jeopardy, surely wish they had more folks adding their voices to ensure that their doctors have the right to discuss all of their options with them. So because I'm trying to be brief today, I'll just say that this guidance to not talk about sex or politics or religions certainly serves someone, but it's almost never those among us with nothing. In fact, it's almost always to the benefit of those among us who already have everything. So the only message I want to bring to you today is that this year, the only thing I'm going to challenge this community to do is to examine what it means to actually live our faith into the world. To get our faith out of our heads and to put it into action. Our beloved principles have changed. They've been evolved into a set of shared values that we're going to spend a lot of time learning and examining this year. And the best thing about these new value statements is that which have been a collaborative effort created through a democratic process over the past 5 years, is that unlike our beloved principles, which they are replacing, these statements are not static. Each of them includes a call to action. This year we're going to talk about putting our UU faith into action because with all of the anxiety-creating news we see each and every day, you may feel helpless as a small and inconsequential drop being carried along in a torrential rushing river. And this is a messy world, but history has shown us that if enough drops get together and focus their efforts, things actually can be made better. And that's literally all politics is. My challenge to you this year will be invite you to step out of your comfort zones. The gift this community will be offering is a variety of opportunities to develop and practice the skills needed to engage in the sometimes difficult conversations we need to have while maintaining healthy relationships. And we'll be learning along the way how to strengthen our spirits so that when times or conversations start to get hard, you don't falter and just feel like running away in the other direction. If we do church right, you'll be able to draw strength from these conversations because you will know that what you are ultimately doing is learning how to better connect with your fellow drops and helping all of us widen our perspectives about the truths of this world and coming to realize that if we can learn how to work together towards our common purposes, we actually can make a difference. So, to that end, let's begin our ritual of reconnection, our water communion. A ritual like this is one of those things that can actually strengthen our spirits. Coming back to something familiar in a ritual way like this is a way to calm our spirits as the maelstrom of change continues to swirl around us. So much is different. So much seems unresolved. But here, at least in this hour, we can move out of the rapid current of life and be reminded of the timeless connection we have to something greater than ourselves. This ritual has changed a bit over the years, but the symbol of combining our waters together remains a potent reminder that we are not alone on this journey. Whether we can see the streams or not, we are all connected. That is a core belief of this faith tradition, is that we are all interrelated, interconnected, both to each other and to all. So this year, I would like to invite you to sit for a moment before I call you forward and consider for just a time what thoughts and feelings you want to symbolically add to our communal waters for Holden. I have one bowl set up for you to place your hopes and dreams for yourself, for your loved ones, for this community, and for the world we all inhabit. And I have another bowl set up to hold your fears and your anxieties. If you have only one or the other, if you're very hopeful today or if you're very anxious today, feel free to pour water into only one of these bowls. But if you have some of both, feel free to release a bit of symbolic water into each of these bowls. So take a few moments. What are your hopes and dreams that you would like to add the power of community to? And what are the anxieties and fears that you would like to release? Let's take a moment. Once you have found your thoughts, I would invite you to make your way to the sides and come forward to our bowls. If you've brought water from your travels, as many of you have, I would invite you to add them to our bowls. And if you have not brought water, that's just fine. We have plenty available from the pitchers on the table. And once you are complete, I invite you to make your way back to your seats and reflect upon what you've added to our communal waters as you enjoy the gentle music Tracy will now begin to play for us. You know, alone, as you look at these bowls, our water doesn't look very powerful. It's kind of invisible. And you might think, like, if any of the troubles we encounter along the way could just pass right through it, right? Well, here's where the strength of community comes in. Because you see, the strength of this community is actually our diversity. It's the different perspectives, the different opinions, the different knowledges, wisdoms, beliefs, hopes. That's what makes this community actually strong. And if we could take the steps that we need to honor that diversity, our differing thoughts, our differing beliefs, our different ways of being, then we can actually have a chance to create beauty together. And immersing ourselves in simple, everyday beauty is one of those things that we can do to strengthen our spirits enough to overcome any challenges we face. So let me take a little bit of this water, and let's see if we can create some beauty.
May we continue to use our gifts to make a difference in our world, to co-create beloved community, to expand justice and love, and to share and keep on sharing just as long as we ever can. Amen.
I intentionally chose short closing words because I know you've been sitting patiently for a long time. I wish you the peace that comes when we trust ourselves to meet whatever life brings. I wish you love beyond happy endings, the kind of love that seeps into everything, no matter where the story goes.